Another day, another episode as our government turns. Jack Smith rushing to the Supreme Court. I wonder what he's so nervous about. Wonder what his handlers are trying to get handled. He goes to the Supreme Court, tries to accelerate a decision, the filing here, United States of America versus Donald J. Trump. This case presents a fundamental question at the heart of our democracy, the word you know I can't stand. Whether a former president is absolutely immune from federal prosecution for crimes committed while in office or is constitutionally protected from federal prosecution when he has been impeached but not convicted before the criminal proceedings begin. So we skipped right by the appellate court. We go right to the Supreme Court as fast as humanly possible because this is now public enemy number one, and there is a reason, because overnight everything just changed. Again, even though I always haven't agreed with everything whoa, what does that mean? I know. Now, that's not a mistake, because that is exactly what they're going to try to make Trump into now. A villain worse than the Grinch that stole Christmas, but it's the only choice they have because, well, that is exactly what you're about to find out. Huge favor as we stop here. I got to stop the entire broadcast. It appears that somebody's found some new trickery to make sure that you are not subscribed to my channel. I don't know how that happened. We're growing by the thousands, and all of a sudden one day it's as if the water faucet turned off. Not because we changed anything here, we didn't. So I need you to look down at that subscribe button. You may think you're subscribed. You may think your bell is checked to all so you're alerted to upcoming broadcasts, but more likely than not, you're going to see that you aren't. And I need you to subscribe. Make sure, again, your bell is checked to all. And then a huge favor, and as I ask all the time, because this is your means of supporting me, if you like the way we deliver these messages, if you like the information we give you today, I need you to go to Restrict the Republic. Not tomorrow, not next week, because nobody knows when the lights will simply go out. Lisa Haven and I putting all our broadcasts, no matter where we publish, on that platform, plus the content you can only get there. Right now, use discount code INDEPENDENCE at monthly checkout. It's going to get you $4 a month for 2 years, plus 14 days for free. Discount code INDEPENDENCE, monthly checkout, $4 a month, 2 years, 14 days for free. Because we know once you're there, you'll go nowhere else for your news that matters. Get there today, restricted. Republic.com. But now let's get on with this broadcast. The game has changed. The game is entirely changed, and I hope you know why. So let us start here. 3 states that we're going to focus on before we proceed into Jack Smith's rushing to the Supreme Court. We'll start with Michigan. Biden achieving 50.6% of the vote. Trump 47.8% of the vote. Georgia. Biden 49.5% of the votes. Trump 49.2% of the votes. Both considered battleground states along with Iowa, where Trump achieved 53.1 and Biden 44.9. Now, everything in this landscape has changed. The game entirely changed overnight. Trump leads Biden in the critical. Well, let's let CNN say it for themselves.
That he's 10 points back in Michigan is obviously not where people would want to see Joe Biden, who want to see him elected, and is not where the Biden campaign wants to see things. The Biden campaign contends.
Do you see how fast they just flashed through that graphic? That was quick. Bad news for Biden. Well, that would be an understatement. Where Trump now has almost a 50% share in both. Biden down to 44 and 40. Bad news for the president would be an understatement. Everything is shifting in Trump's favor, and you could tell by the broadcaster's face herself exactly how humbling, embarrassing. So many words I could use right now. It appears Bidenomics isn't working out so well for anyone. But then we had the Des Moines Register come out, NBC News, one of the most reliable polls you can come up with if you believe any poll is reliable. You move down in this one, This didn't only make the Democrats shudder, this made the Republicans shudder.
Register poll, the Des Moines Register poll is taken by Ann Selzer. She is known as one of the best in the business and certainly the authority when it comes to polling on Iowa. So let me show you these numbers. Republican side for the Iowa caucuses. We now have Donald Trump leading with an outright majority in Iowa, 51%. Ron DeSantis, a very distant second at 19. Nikki Haley, 16. Ramaswamy and Christie at 4.
Okay, I think that says enough, doesn't it? Vivek Ramaswamy, 5%. But yet, headline after headline. But I digress for a moment because this is really all that makes a difference. Trump's breaking away, even more so. Which should make no sense, but now all of a sudden, which is nice to see. A lot of people are starting to come out of the woodwork again. Some have always been there. Just like you see here with Kid Rock, who had a few nice things to say about Trump, as he usually does.
I don't know how you look at his track record and what he did and how he had this country fired on all cylinders when he was in office. Everybody working, our military is the strongest. He's leading with, strength and borders, under control, just energy independent. You could go on and on.
Very succinct definition of why people are now rallying behind Trump again, as they always have. Kristi Noem, we were told that as the field shrinks, the polls would narrow. Well, the field has been shrinking, and support for President Trump has been growing. Now sitting at 50%, up from 43% in October. That's a line that a lot of Democrats never wanted to see, and those Republicans that opposed Trump never wanted to see, but it's growing stronger. And so Kristi Noem comes out and says it's time to unite behind President Trump and focus all our efforts and resources on defeating Joe Biden. That sentiment is now being heard across the country. But again, how does that voter who didn't vote in the last election, what say they? Well, actually, they're saying they're leaning towards Trump. Bidenomics has demolished everything. People can't look away. Fox News came out with the 12 most costly days of Christmas. A quick comparison of what happened before and where we're at now.
Full gold, they're going to be more than
maybe
that.
It's not 24 karat.
Maybe it's not 24 karat.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just gold plated. I don't know. But here's the point about this whole thing is that it's a $46,000 total. If you go back to 2020, 16 grand.
I always thought this was
30,000 more to deliver the 12 days of Christmas to me.
Oh, and who could we blame for that? Well, there appears to be only one man that the voter is blaming for that, and that is Joseph Robinette Biden. After all that Trump goes through, after everything they've thrown at him, case after case from Alvin Bragg to Fani Willis, all the way back to Eileen Cannon, all the way into Jack Smith. They have thrown everything but the kitchen sink at him. He is the Grinch hiding in the mountain right now, trying to demonize, vilify this man. But no matter what they do, it doesn't work. So they send Jack Smith, I'm sure, a desperation letter. Hurry, because we're in trouble. We need everything accelerated. So he skips the appellate court. He jumps to the Supreme Court to make sure, ultimately, well, I'm going to tell you why he did this. Supreme Court to quickly decide whether or not to hear Trump immunity defense and special counsel prosecution. Late Monday, the Supreme Court granted Smith's request to expedite its consideration of his petition to take the case, with the court ordering Trump's lawyers to file their response to this petition by 4 p.m. on Wednesday, December 20th. If the court grants the petition, Trump's case would be heard early in 2024. If the justices deny the petition, then Trump's current appeal on the immunity argument will play out in the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit, which would extend this beyond where it appears Jack Smith is comfortable. He wants a trial, and he wants a trial now. And so they ran to the Supreme Court. Special counsel Jack Smith, Jonathan Turlier, is now seeking to leapfrog the appellate court and ask for a ruling from the Supreme Court on Trump's immunity claims. The only reason for this petition, is to seek a guarantee, a trial of Trump and possible conviction before the election. It is now the only hope they feel they have They must have a conviction before the election. Hence, this desperation move by Jack Smith to accelerate the entire proceeding. It is truly that black and white. The matter is currently before the D.C. Circuit, which is viewed as a favorable court for Smith. However, Smith is trying to avoid any delay in the March trial date, set to begin the day before Super Tuesday. The Supreme Court may not view a trial of Trump during the campaign to be as motivating or urgent as does Smith. This is a novel legal argument that the court would ordinarily prefer to hear the views from the appellate judges. So what will they decide? They took up to decide if they'll hear it. They haven't decided yet. So where does that leave the Democrats? Where does that leave the Trump haters? Trump derangement syndrome kicks into overdrive. In this special issue, in this Grinch stole Christmas special issue, The Atlantic warns of the consequences if Trump wins a second term, featuring 24 Atlantic writers, 24 Atlantic writers, on how a second term could shatter norms with the courts, destroy education, change the military, demolish foreign policy, uproot immigration, destroy abortion rights, change science and gender. This is all within, I can't make this up. This is 24 writers to tell you that Trump will demolish absolutely everything. Trump derangement syndrome is an understatement. This is psychotic. If Trump wins, the staff of The Atlantic on the threat of a second term poses to American democracy. Pretty much tell by who uses that word what side of the aisle you're on, right? Not the great constitutional republic of the United States of America, no democracy. But it's not going to stop. It's not going to change because they view him as the largest villain that ever existed. And so they will continue to vilify him. Jack Smith, in a desperate move, rushes to the Supreme Court to accelerate the trial and ultimately a conviction because they have nothing to stand on. As Trump stares down Biden in this upcoming election, when you have an absence of substance, when you have no achievements to speak of, when you stand for everything the American public now disagrees with, you have an issue. And your own party fragmented itself over Israel, destroyed itself. They showed a divide that America is now seeing. And so everything overnight magically changes. The polls come out and shows that the American people, more so now than ever in the face of all these trials, all these tribulations, support Trump now more than ever. The game just changed. Some would argue it's Trump's to lose. Some would argue they'll do anything to make sure he does lose. We will continue to keep you posted on all the developments. I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justus Knight, signing out.